Some people don't become cold overnight. It happens slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Before we go deeper, if you've ever felt emotionally exhausted, misunderstood, or changed by life in ways people never noticed, then the quiet truth is for you. This channel explores the deeper realities of healing, human behavior, emotional growth, and the silent battles people rarely talk about. So subscribe and join us as we learn to understand life more deeply. Until one day you realize the person who once gave warmth freely now feels emotionally unreachable. And what makes it even more confusing is this: they are still kind, still polite, still decent, but something in them has shut down, and you start wondering what changed. The truth is uncomfortable. Most emotionally cold people were not always that way. They were once the ones who checked on everyone first, forgave too quickly, gave second chances too easily, and believed people would change. They were not cold. They were available, too available. And that is where the story begins. Because in life, people don't become cold from one big event. They become cold from repeated emotional patterns, small disappointments, silent neglect, unspoken expectations not met, moments where they showed up for people, but no one showed up for them. At first, they ignore it. They tell themselves, maybe they are busy, maybe they didn't mean it, or maybe I'm expecting too much. But over time, something shifts internally. Not emotionally first, but psychologically. The mind starts recording patterns, and this is important. The human brain is not emotional first, it is protective first. So, when kindness repeatedly meets disappointment, the brain starts building a conclusion. Connection is not safe here. And once that belief forms, everything changes. Not loudly, not dramatically, but slowly. They start replying less. Not because they hate you, but because they are tired of initiating what is never returned. They start withdrawing. Not because they stopped caring, but because caring too much kept hurting them. And here's the part most people never understand. Distance is not always rejection. Sometimes it is recovery. There are people who are not cold, they are emotionally exhausted, they are not unavailable, they are overexposed. They gave too much of themselves to people who only knew how to receive. And eventually, even the strongest emotional capacity breaks, not in anger, but in silence. And if any part of this feels painfully familiar, leave a comment below. Sometimes people begin healing the moment they realize they are not the only ones carrying these emotions silently. Now, here's a psychological truth most people miss. When someone is repeatedly emotionally disappointed, the brain doesn't just get sad, it adapts. It starts reducing emotional investment. Because emotional investment without safety feels like danger. So the person you once knew begins to change. Less explaining, less chasing, less emotional availability, less tolerance for inconsistency. And people misinterpret this. They say they've changed. But the deeper truth is they finally learned. They learned that kindness can be taken for granted. They learned that loyalty can be one-sided. They learned that emotional effort is not always returned. They also learned that being available is not always respected. And once someone learns that deeply, they don't go back to who they were. Because emotional transformation is not just an experience. It is identity restructuring. And here is where it becomes even deeper. Some of the kindest people you will ever meet were never naturally soft. They were trained into softness, taught to forgive, taught to understand, taught to tolerate, taught to give without limits, until life taught them something else. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. And that realization is painful because it doesn't make them hate people. It makes them more selective with people. So they begin to build boundaries. But here is the irony. To people who benefited from their lack of boundaries, those boundaries feel like coldness. But in reality, it is protection, not personality change. Now listen carefully. There is a stage in emotional growth where kindness meets consequences, and that stage changes people permanently, not into worse people, but into wiser ones. They begin to understand that you can love people and still step back. You can care and still protect yourself. You can be good and still say no. You can be kind and still choose distance. That is emotional maturity. But let's go deeper, because there is another hidden layer. Some people become cold because they were emotionally over-responsible. They became the fixer, listener, supporter, emotional safe space for everyone. But nobody carried them. So over time, their emotional system collapses quietly. Not in one moment, but in accumulation. And one day they stop pouring, not because they ran out of love, but because they ran out of capacity. Now here is a truth that may sting. Not everyone who leaves your emotional space is rejecting you. Some are simply protecting what is left of themselves. And spiritually, this is often misunderstood. People think distance means hatred, but sometimes distance is divine correction, a necessary separation for emotional survival. Because there are seasons where life forces people to sit with themselves, detach from emotional dependency, stop overgiving, and learn self-respect. And those seasons often feel lonely, but they are not meaningless. They are restructuring identity. Now here is the emotional climax. Not every cold person is broken. Some are rebuilt, some are healed in a different direction. Some are simply no longer willing to abandon themselves just to maintain access to others. And that is the real shift. When someone finally chooses, I will no longer lose myself to keep people comfortable. That is not coldness. That is awakening. So if you are watching this and you recognize yourself changing, be careful how you interpret it. Maybe you are not becoming harder. Maybe you are becoming clearer. Maybe you are not losing kindness. Maybe you are learning where it belongs. Because real emotional growth is not becoming heartless. It is becoming balanced, kind enough to care, wise enough to step back, strong enough to let go, and aware enough not to confuse peace with loneliness. And maybe that is the truth nobody told you. Some people don't become cold because they stop loving. They become cold because they finally started loving themselves correctly. If this video spoke to a part of you that words normally cannot reach, then this is exactly what the Quiet Truths was created for. Subscribe for more deep reflections on healing, faith, emotional intelligence, human behavior, and personal growth. And before you leave, comment one word that describes what this season of your life has taught you. Because sometimes one honest word can remind someone else that they are not alone. Until next time, protect your peace, guard your heart wisely, and continue becoming the person pain tried to stop. The Quiet Truths, understanding life more deeply.